Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer. Two stakes races on tap at Churchill Downs Thursday of Kentucky Derby week. This preview will be for the opening verse, race number 8. Before we get to the preview, it is Kentucky Derby week at DRF.com, and everything you need to win big on Derby Saturday is at our one-stop Derby shop. Derby packages, past performances, betting strategies, and clocker reports, and lots more. DRF.com. Here's the field for the opening verse, race number 8. We're going a mile on the turf. This is a very competitive group of horses, Mike, and almost like a grade 3 quality stake.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty competitive race, Dan. I more than anything else, I was just happy to see, and obviously, who knows how it will all play out when the gate opens. But man, it feels like there's a lot of speed in this race. I wonder if we'll actually see a fast pace.
Perfect segue into our Timeform US pace projector. Note the red bar. Timeform US concurs with Mike's assessment. They believe this pace will be fast. They have the number 2 Sayaf, the number 3 Sugoi, the number 9 Spectacular Gem going to the front, which makes Gray's Fable very interesting because Gray's Fable can do it either way. On the lead or off the pace, I think this time around, Johnny Velasquez is going to let the speeds go and settle in the second flight.
Yeah, I mean, I guess riding the pocket would be a good trip for him. He has won without the lead before. He does sort of feel like a horse who really wants to be on the lead, Dan. That was the case last time when he won a grade 3. But boy, it does feel like in this race, just let the speeds go and ride in behind.
Let's watch that grade 3 Appleton for Gray's Fable. Junior Alvarado put Gray's Fable right on the front in his first start since September. Didn't think this was the greatest field in the world, but Gray's Fable ran well, ran hard from start to finish.
Yeah, it wasn't a very good field. The horse that's going to wind up second to him there, Renaissance Frolic, had just won a 50 claimer. And you can just see there's really nothing happening behind this horse. That being said, I thought this horse ran well in here. He got a great ride. He got a great trip, but he also ran pretty well.
The number 2 is Sayaf, and I find it very interesting that the prior connections of Sayaf were just fascinated with sprinting him, even though he won a mile allowance race at Gulfstream back in 2019. They finally got him back into a route race 2-back. He went gate to wire, and then he won this race for Todd Pletcher, a 62,500 claimer on March the 27th, gate to wire. And he earned a 100 buyer speed figure in this race. And perhaps most importantly, he was claimed by Michael Maker, who knows a thing or two about claiming turf routers and turning them into stakes winners.
Yeah, that's true enough. This is perhaps the best race this horse has ever run in his career, Danny. You mentioned they sprinted him a lot in New York the prior couple of seasons. I was not a fan of his in those races, even though he ran some big figures. His win 2-back even was okay. I mean, I guess he went a legitimate pace, but man, he was on his hands and knees at the end of that race and just made it. Ran a lot better last time, so I'm not going to knock him. They got to go faster in here. Isn't he? He's supposed to get hooked up on the lead in this race.
You'd have to think that Sugoi, the 3, is going to be one of the horses that's going to go after him. He's going to be fresh off of the layoff. We haven't seen Sugoi since October. This horse won 3 of his final 4 starts as a 3-year-old, including this race at Keeneland. And it was a solid group of older horses. The 7th place finisher, Corelli, came back to win the Henry Clark at Pimlico last week with a 93 buyer. Now, Sugoi got up close to the pace, opens up at just the right time, holds on. He got good last year. Off the layoff with a fast pace, it worries me a bit.
Yeah, me too. That's the only thing I really didn't like about him, because overall, I think his turf form is fine. But, he's won 3 times on turf. In all of those wins, he has been right up there with the pace, and it just doesn't seem like that's going to be able to work out for him in here.
The 4 Logical Myth makes a lot of sense in this race. Let's go back to his race at Keeneland last fall, going 1.5 miles. Now, maybe this distance was a little bit too far for Logical Myth, but he ran second to Tide of the Sea, who's a very good marathoner when able to get the lead, and he just got the lead on Logical Myth this day, a game second. They've turned him back this winter at the fairgrounds, and Logical Myth's run some good races. 3rd last time out to Colonel Liam, arguably the best turf horse in the United States.
Yeah, he ran fine last time. That was a pretty slow pace in that Muniz last time. And this horse rated it, was in between horses. He tried pretty hard in the stretch. He never really made an impact, but he did prevail for 3rd. I just like his running style more than anything else. Dan, I can't say I'm a huge fan of this horse. He's going to be a short price in this race, which doesn't really thrill me, but he's got a great running style for this race. He's going to sit right off of it. And if they do go fast in front of him, it's supposed to work to his advantage.
Is the 5 set piece as good on turf as he is on synthetic? Because if he is, he has a big chance at this race the way the pace sets up. I liked his race in the Prairie Bayou 3-back. He didn't break very well. He was able to still beat those horses fairly easily. Last time out, paceless race in the Kentucky Cup Classic on the Poly. He came rallying for second. The third horse came back to run third in the Elkhorn on turf, 96 Buyer. Is he as good on turf?
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess he still has to prove that. I certainly believe that he is. We'll find out more as time goes on, I guess. I mean, he won his stateside debut, I thought, pretty impressively on the turf. And I thought he just had excuses for his next two turf starts, Dan. So I don't think he's maybe as poor as he looks on turf. I feel like you and I might have both liked him in that Fairgrounds race 2 starts back, the Grade 3. I did not care for the trip he got in there, Dan. I don't know why Giroux committed him to the inside, but he did, and he tried to rally through traffic while the 1-2 finishers were out in the clear.
He's a very interesting price horse at this race if he goes off at 6-1 for trainer Brad Cox. Epic Dreamer is the 6th. This horse was an underachiever for most of his career. They tried to route him on dirt, sprint him on dirt, middling success. They brought him back last time out, Tampa Bay, listed as a first-time gelding, second-time blinkers. And let's watch this performance. This is not a strong field. But Epic Dreamer, I thought, did what he had to do. He gets to the front against this field at a big price. He's going to go on to win with a 92 Buyer. You see a thread of blue, a horse that might be a little bit past his prime, tiring in here. Epic Dreamer has tactical speed. I think he can slot into a good trip in the second or third flight. He will have to improve.
Yeah, he will. He ran fine in this race, though. I agree with you. It wasn't a great field. More than anything else, I just liked the fact that he just seemed like he traveled pretty strongly throughout the race. So it makes me feel like that maybe turf really could lead to some improvement for him going forward, because he clearly has to improve to beat this field.
Snapper Sinclair, the number 7's a millionaire. He's just a likable horse. It doesn't matter whether it's dirt or turf. He shows up. Let's go back to the Tourist Mile last year at Kentucky Downs. And considering this horse's versatility, it really isn't a surprise that he handles that quirky track at Kentucky Downs like a seasoned pro. He was a stakes winner at Kentucky Downs as a 2-year-old, and he makes a very good late run in here to just miss.
Yeah, good effort in here. He's run really well in this Tourist Mile the last 2 years, as a matter of fact, and they're probably the 2 best races he's ever run on the grass. So maybe that could be some kind of a concern. He's just a really versatile horse. I feel like his turf form, they don't run him on turf very often, but I feel like when they do, he handles it really, really well. I love his running style for this race, too. He's very handy, doesn't need to be on the lead, but won't be outrun either. He just feels like he shows up every time. There's a lot to like about him.
And he acquitted himself just fine last time out overseas in the Godolphin Mile. Captivating Moon is the number 8. I know you're a little bit of a fan of this horse, Mike. He won the Fairgrounds at 43-1, 2 starts back. He swung widest turning into the stretch, really seemed to appreciate that yielding going, and got up despite being very late to change leads. He beat Logical Myth that day. Last time out in the Munis, a little bit flat against Colonel Liam. I think on his best day, he might will appreciate turning back a bit in distance.
Yeah, he will, and he'll also appreciate if the pace projector is right. He's going to appreciate a fast pace because they like to sit back and make one run. When he won the Grade 3 2-back, the race set up perfectly for him. Dan, a really fast pace in that race. He got to the outside and he had the best finish. Last time, to me, was the complete opposite. They basically walked on the lead in there. This horse was last on the rail. He got to the outside and he ran in there, Dan. I mean, he finished 6th, but he just missed finishing 3rd. Logical Myth was 3rd in there. This horse, to me, I could make the argument he ran better than Logical Myth again last time.
Spectacular Gem is a stakes winner at Churchill Downs, won the Jefferson Cup back as a 3-year-old. Let's go back to Keeneland last fall, a 3rd place finish against a solid group of allowance runners. Spectacular Gem showed good tactical speed in this race, but he's the kind of horse that likes to be forwardly placed. A fast pace might work against him. Now, last time out at the Fairgrounds, I know it was a good field. 2 next out winners. The 5th place horse came back to run second in the Munis with a 96 Buyer. But Spectacular Jim had everything his own way and just couldn't finish it off. I was disappointed he lost as the favorite in that race.
I agree with you. I didn't like that loss last time. I did like his race better 2 starts back. Again, he was in that fast-paced race, and he just got tired at the end there after dueling with that good Brad Cox horse in there, Dan. What's his name that I'm forgetting? The horse that hasn't made Factor This. He got hooked up on the pace with that horse, and I thought he ran well in that race. We'll see if he can bounce back. Again, he's another horse. I don't love his running style for this race.
Let's take a look at our top picks for the opening verse stakes. I want a price in here because I think it's such a competitive race. I think it's a quirky race from a pace standpoint. I wonder if the gelding process and getting back to turf's going to move Epic Dream Rock because he's going to have to improve. All I know is he's going to be a good price in this race. Snapper Sinclair, I probably underrated him. He's one of my favorites. And like you, I think he's going to get a fine trip.
Yeah, I think the trip will work out for him, and he just feels like the kind of horse who could be an okay price in this race. I put him on top and put Set Piece second, but they were really the two horses I was most interested in.
Just take a look at our top selections. 8 different horses. The number 1, Gray's Fable, can't lose. The opening verse stakes, race number 8 at Churchill Downs on Thursday. Good luck.